Hello everybody, Epic Mewtwo here. Today we are doing a type of video that we have not done in a hot minute. We are going to be doing a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle discussion video. Joining me for this discussion here is the one and only Kvan. Say hello.
Hey guys.
And today we're going to be discussing something that has been a hot topic in the community for a very long time, and people have complained about for literally as long as I can remember, and it annoys the heck out of me. So
You and me both.
I wanted to make a video clarifying the reason why Dragon Ball Heroes, the cards in Dokkan specifically, why they will never come to global, or at least they most likely won't come to global, and we'll talk about that in a second here. So
Yep.
let's get into this here, right? So here's the thing about this, and let me real quick just explain one more time. The real reason why I wanted to make this video is because people in my comments section and on streams and all that stuff say all the time, oh, I can't wait until these cards go on global, or oh, I'm so mad that these cards aren't on global or anything like that. But there's something that I feel like that nobody realizes about this, that we are going to talk about. We've mentioned it offhandedly and in other videos, but I wanted to make a specific video about it, because I don't think anyone on YouTube has, at least as far as I've seen, and I just wanted to talk about it basically. So here's the lowdown, right? Basically, the reason why the Dragon Ball Heroes cards will most likely, and we'll talk about the most likely, underlying thing there in a second, is that Dragon Ball Heroes as we can't really call it a franchise, I guess, because it's obviously still, technically part of Dragon Ball.
Spin-off, I guess.
Sure, Dragon Ball, we'll just call it a franchise just for the sake of the video. The Dragon Ball Heroes franchise has no representation or advertisement in any other country, definitely not in the US. Maybe it's in some like off country, maybe, or if it's in China, like Lithuania or something, I don't know. But the main point is that it's Japan exclusive, at least to my knowledge anyway. Obviously not in the States though, is the point I'm trying to make, or in other countries that global is in, but that also could be limited to the fact that the US is a part of that, and if it is in a country that global is in, I don't know, but that's besides the point. So Dragon Ball Heroes has no representation or advertisement in the United States, right? And I'm just using the US as an example because that's where I live. I know Kvan lives in Canada, and he certainly does not have any Dragon Ball Heroes machines near him. But because this game has no advertisement or representation in the States, there is no reason for them to release the cards, at least under the Dragon Ball Heroes title. They could just release them under, the fact that, they're just these cool cards, like they're like,
That is a fair point, yes.
Right.
They could just drop the Super Dragon Ball Heroes moniker completely.
Right, but I don't think that that'll happen because they're obviously, like, in Japan at least, these characters are known because of that, like, especially Darkness Toa is known.
If it did happen, sorry to cut you off, if it did happen, it would have happened by now.
Right, exactly, because these cards are very old at this point. Well, not very old, but they're pretty old.
Well, the three main ones, which are Super Dragon Ball Heroes, which are Toa, Trunks, and Gohan, are fairly recent.
Right.
They came out.
The original ones came
before
out
third year,
like last summer or a little bit before it, because I remember Abelot's Gotank's awakening while we were in Florida on a vacation, or maybe it was 2 summers ago. Holy cow. Anyway, point is they're pretty old, the older ones anyway. So because there's no representation here in the States, right, we have no arcade machines. There is a Dragon Ball Heroes 3DS game, but it is not localized. It's only in Japan. Obviously, arcades aren't as big a thing as here in the States as they are in Japan. And even so, it would be kind of hard to have, an arcade machine, or cards, I should say, specifically revolving around an arcade machine, if there's not one in your area, then that's very hard. Because with Dragon Ball Heroes, there's arcades all over the place in Japan, so it's a lot easier to just scan your pass to log into your account on the arcade machine and then use your cards than having to drive 30 minutes to the closest arcade and then finding out that they don't even have the game. And you could obviously get cards from the machine or buy them online or whatever, but that's the main reason why, because Heroes has no advertisement. There's no money in it, right? You do have to remember that as a, Dokkan is still technically, from the creator's end is still a business, right? As much as it is a game, and, I'm sure that the people who work on it, are passionate about the game, or at least I would hope so. And that's even another topic in itself. We're not going to talk about that right now. It is still a way to make money, and they still have to see it as that. So for the global version, because, technically, of course we have information from other countries because, that's just how world news works, and, that's how the world works these days, where we can get access to Japanese websites, and information from, Japan that we, normally could not, just by going outside and reading a newspaper. Right? There is no representation of the game, I guess, is the bottom line, what I'm trying to say, and there's no value in it. There's no money. I think you get the point I'm trying to say, right? There's no way for them to make money off of these cards under the Dragon Ball Heroes name. Now, I know that sounds kind of stupid because you're saying like, oh well, obviously, people would still summon for these, right? But in their eyes, that's how they see it, because the game is not here in the US, which is unfortunate because I would love to see it. They could totally do a port. They could do some kind of card eater thing, but in the past that has all kind of not worked out too well when they've do that with other games. Those have all kind of gotten off the shelves, unfortunately. But there is a little bit of a saving grace here that's a possibility.
Well, before we get into that though, basically what Theo was all just saying is saying that to debunk the whole thing that there are licensing issues.
Well, I wouldn't even necessarily say that, because see, that's the thing that I think a lot of people say, and I actually think is incorrect. So I'm glad you bring that up.
I should, like, if I may go on for a bit, because I just want to point this out. If there would be licensing issues between getting Dragon Ball Heroes cards into global version of Dokkan, why have we gotten Dragon Ball Fusions? What's the difference between the two?
Because we got a localization of that game.
Exactly.
There's an English version of that game.
That's the main reason, that there's no advertisement or no what was the word you used?
I see your point. Representation.
Yeah, there's no representation of Dragon Ball Z Heroes in the West.
Right. Because there was a lot of commercials and stuff for Dragon Ball Fusions. I remember that, and I couldn't find the game forever because they just got bought out so fast. Because we hadn't had a Dragon Ball 3DS game in a while, and it's actually a very good game. Definitely recommend Dragon Ball Fusions, but that's off topic. But anyway, so saving graces here that could possibly bring these cards to global. We did mention one earlier, kind of offhanded, but if they are somehow able to get rid of the Dragon Ball Heroes moniker on these cards, or I guess on the banner, and just call it like, oh, super, I mean,
or there's actually another thing
Go ahead.
Or if these guys appear in a game such as Xenoverse or something like that.
That's true.
Then it's free reign. That's how we got stuff like Super Saiyan 3 Broly, Super Saiyan 3 Bardock, who are pretty prominent in Heroes.
Right,
but
exactly.
have appeared in other games, which is why they've been brought forth here.
Right, exactly. Plus, they aren't also in the under the title of Dragon Ball Heroes.
So if there were any media here with a Super Saiyan 3 Trunks, Super Saiyan 3 Gohan, or like a Darkness Toa, for example, then I could see them bringing those cards here, but under a different moniker or something.
Right, exactly.
Because that would give a good reason.
Like, one example could be with the physical Dragon Ball Super card game. Now, of course, we haven't really gotten any, cards that are exclusive to that card game. Of course, they've all been from existing Dragon Ball properties. But, maybe if these guys came to that game, that could be a possibility that they could be added into Dokkan, because obviously that game is, here in the West and has an English translation. So
who knows? Maybe one day they'll have a crossover between Heroes and the Super card game.
That would be very cool.
And that could open a bridge to have cards from Heroes into Dokkan one day.
Right.
There's always options, but the thing is, you have to wait for those, or just like, I don't know how to explain. Anyhow, go ahead, there.
No, right, like I was saying before, right? If they drop the Super Dragon Ball Heroes moniker, sorry, I just moved a spoon in my cup on my desk. I was having ice cream earlier, it's tasty. But anyway, if they remove that, which I don't think they will, that could be one option. But the main light at the end of the tunnel that we're seeing here, which has also kind of been squandered a little bit, but you've all heard that Dragon Ball Heroes is getting an anime. It's going to be type of a special type of dealio. It will have multiple episodes, but I don't really, I wouldn't consider it in a series. I don't know if it's going to air on TV anywhere. I don't have that information. I don't think it is, though. I know that there will be multiple episodes, at least I'm pretty sure anyway. But even if they don't, still, here's the thing. If that gets localized, and it gets, especially if it gets a dub, that is a very high possibility of these cards being able to come to the West, or, which I'm actually going to make another video about later on this week, so definitely keep an eye out for that, new cards that could possibly come from the Dragon Ball Heroes anime, if we get any, from the Dragon Ball Heroes anime. If we get new cards because of that on JP, then they could possibly come to global if we get a dub or an official sub. Now here's the thing though, why I said that, kind of shaky ground there, is because at the current time, there is no plans for an official sub of this, anime. So all the subs will be fan subs, unfortunately. Now, of course, fan subs, can do a very good job. But in terms of, the licensing that we're looking for, fan subs obviously don't have that luxury. So that's kind of everything I had. Do you have anything else to add?
I mean, you pretty much said what I would have said, but better, pretty much.
I've thought about this a lot.
Yeah, I could imagine.
But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to make a video about this because I've had it on my mind for a while, and people always talk about it, why won't these cards come to global? And I wanted to make a video to be the end all be all, kind of, I guess, end to to put the final nail in the coffin for this.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless, though. And like we said, there are some still, possible options that these cards could come to global. I personally, just from me personally, I don't think they will. That's just my personal thing and what I know about, how all this stuff works. And that's just my opinion.
Say, as a global player, personally, I don't care if these come to global.
At this point, at least these old cards, right? If we get something new, or if some of these guys get Dokkan Awakenings, that's completely different. But at the current time, where, these guys obviously are in the current state that they're in, which, funny enough, we actually did a video about that on Kvan's channel. So if you want to go check that out, we actually didn't really plan it. It just kind of worked out that way. But if you want to go check out that video in the description, why it doesn't really even matter if these cards come to global or not, definitely go check that out. That is a little bit of a big boy, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the sweet tones of our dulcet tones. I don't know why I said tones twice, but you get the point. Anyhow, that's going to do it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless, and I will catch you in the next one. Having you two out. Peace.
See you guys.